go to AEW. A lot of shit's happened, Rip. Oh, I just cussed. I didn't mean to do that. A lot of stuff's happened, Rip.
Hey, I'll just go back and edit it. Don't worry about it.
CM Punk won the title, Rip, from Moxley, so he's back and won the title. He goes to a press conference after the show. Now, you got to keep in mind here, the show was 5 hours long. It's like 1 in the morning or something like that. And then Tony Khan wants every wrestler that worked in the matches to now come to do a press conference with a bunch of phony journalists that are just wrestling marks, really.
Well, he's the boss, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can say that all you want. He's the boss, and he's the one that...
Wait a minute.
I mean, you don't do this, and none of that happens.
Right.
Yeah, so he's the boss. You're right.
And they get paid an exorbitant amount of money for basically doing nothing. What do they have? 1 show a week? Some people don't even work, and they got a mailbox check. They show up whenever payday is. Oh, here's my check for ha ha ha.
5-hour show. It was 14 matches. You're going to sit through 14 matches and then do a press conference. And you might be number 14 in the press conference. You better be paying me a lot of money.
You ought to get on that. You ought to get on that line and work for about 10 hours.
Well, I see what you're saying, but I just don't. Anyway, so the press conference blew up in his face. Punk calls out everybody, calls out Cabana, says that Hangman Page is an effing idiot, says that he works with children, profanity-laced, rips Tony Khan, rips everybody. And Tony Khan's sitting right next to him.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So what do you think of Punk doing that?
Well, he's become elite in this business by being himself, which means he is a hell of a talker. He knows how to get over when given the chance. I mean, he's sitting on the ground usually, and he can talk. He can get him in the building, and he's got good psychology. And he's got there pretty much on his own. He ain't no big muscle guy. He ain't related to nobody. He ain't no big physical freak that's 6'6", 300 pounds of muscle or anything. He got in there with talent. And he's special. And you got to be special. He's got that chip on his shoulder. Hell yes, he does. He believes in himself. And if he don't believe in himself, how in the hell am I going to believe in him? How are the fans going to believe in him? Believing in yourself is number one in anything. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
I get all that. Not really answering the question.
Okay.
As usual.
Okay.
Could you imagine him doing that sitting next to Vince McMahon?
Oh, hell no.
That's okay. So.
Okay, now this goes back to my original thing about AEW. Now, we love AEW.
Well, sure we do.
But Tony's going crazy. Because I know what it is to write television on a 1-hour show. And he's writing every show. He's doing all these finishes. He must be up 22 hours a day doing this. And you talk about burnout. My gosh. Remember when I come into DCW and I said, you guys take over the TV? Why? I've started to feel burnout. I said, that ain't good.
Oh, yeah?
That ain't good right there.
Do you know how many weeks it was?
No.
I remember Pops said it that one time.
Yeah, Pops would know.
But I can't remember.
But I was doing the shit by myself, but I was also I was doing it in my head, but I had to see who was there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. You have to make changes on the fly.
Had to see who paid their dues, too.
Well, that's the same thing. Who's there? Because they weren't going to show up if they didn't have their money. I say, no, get out of here. Go home or whatever.
I just can't. I know. I understand everything. And Punk, I do agree. I said earlier that Punk, whatever you want to call it, he says, hey, I don't want to be in drama, but he's always in drama. His psychology, his whatever it is, I think has gotten him to the top. But But I think it also is ultimately is going to be his downfall. I mean, you go to the press conference and you call Adam Page a effing idiot. You call the Young Bucks effing children. Tell the whole thing about Colt Cabana. I mean, just for everybody. You know this is going to be everywhere. So then he gets back, and then there's a fight. If you heard about the fight. So supposedly there's two sides of the story, but there's a fight. The Young Bucks and Omega come in his locker room. Him and Ace Steel are in there. Supposedly Punk starts punching. Supposedly knocked one of the Jacksons out. And then Ace Steel supposedly hit, I think, Omega with a chair and like bit him and pulled his hair or something.
I like that Ace Steel already.
Yeah, he should have been there. Now they're all suspended. You know who else got suspended? Pat Buck somehow got suspended in that melee. Well,
that ain't no good. Buck's wife just had this baby.
Yeah, maybe he wanted out for a while. I don't know. So now a bunch of people are suspended. They had the fight. Punk is supposedly hurt now. 8 months with a torn tricep. Do you think Punk gets fired?
Me? I think he'll quit before he gets fired.
Do you think he quits? If you were Tony Khan, what would you do? Would you fire these guys, suspend these guys?
If I was Tony
quit
Khan,
doing press conferences? What would you do if you were Tony Khan? Right now with AEW, that looks like it's a sinking ship.
It does look like it's a sinking ship. But then again, see, since I'm an old guy and have been at this a while, when this whole thing started and they threw this thing together, I said, oh, my God.
You saw it coming.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
You have to have people. You can't have your executive vice presidents. They're shirts now. They're no longer wrestlers. Because once you're a wrestler, you still think you're over. No, that ain't your phase anymore.
Yeah, but they were wrestlers. They all still.
Then they shouldn't be executive vice presidents.
Right.
And it's the Friends League. So they got all their buddies are together and they've got all this power. Well, it's okay if you've done that for 15 years or something with different companies and you understand the system. You understand what you need to do. But you just can't all of a sudden, hey, you're assistant coach of the Green Bay Packers now. You ever played football before? No, but hey, you're my buddy. That's okay. Let's have a good time.
It's becoming clear why Cody Rhodes left, probably.
I think that's coming. I think that's coming out now. See, Cody's been in the business his whole life. Even though he wanted to be an actor and not really wanted to be a wrestler, he was the dream son, and that's all there is to it. Just by hanging around, you have so much more knowledge. And Dusty's always worked in the office, so a lot of that would rub off on Cody, and he would already know what it's supposed to be. And then when he's in there with some of the other guys, he's like shaking his head, man. He goes, "This ain't working.
Yeah,
this ain't working." You know.
You said you saw it coming. I think it's kind of funny, not necessarily ha-ha funny, but funny that all these guys think they know everything. They think the grass is greener. They think they can do it all. It's so easy, and now they're trying, and it's just pure chaos. And
no, any and every business is hard.